Good evening and warm welcome to all of you to the webinar of Thrissur Management Association. Today's webinar topic is banking in COVID times. The chief guest, Mr. C.V.R. Rajendran, Managing Director and CEO of CSB Bank Limited, formerly Catalyst Bank. Before going further, I request all our participants to kindly mute your sound. After the session of the chief guest, we'll have a question and answer session. That point of time, you can raise your queries either in chat box by typing your query, or you can raise your hand. So kindly unmute your voice. Today we are very privileged to get such an eminent and seasoned banker with a solid grassroots level experience in Indian banking system. None other than Mr. C.V.R. Rajendran. Warm welcome to you, sir, to this meeting. Senior Vice President of TMA, Dr. V.M. Xavier, Vinod Manjala, Vice President, Zijo Ponu, Honorary Secretary, Manoj Kumar, Chartered Accountant, Treasurer, Pradab Orki, Joint Secretary. Warm welcome, all of you, to this meeting. Past presidents of TMA, managing committee members, members of TMA, invited guests. Once again, welcome to webinar of TMA. The banking in COVID times is a very important topic, especially because during this pandemic, all are eagerly looking forward how to overcome these days. RBI given a moratorium of 3 months initially, and later that moratorium period is increased to 6 months. How to make use of that? All are eagerly looking forward to that. Today we are very privileged and honored by presence of the eminent seasoned banker with a solid grassroots level experience in the banking system, Mr. C.V.R. Rajendran, Managing Director and CEO of the CSB Bank Limited. He is the Managing Director and CEO of the CSB Bank Limited since 2016. And he is again reappointed as MD and CEO in this December 2019 for the next 3 years. He has hands-on cross-functional experience in every aspects of banking, spreading across branch operations, NPA management, asset quality management, business process re-engineering, productivity enhancement, corporate industrial finance, merchant banking, treasury operations, international banking, primary dealership collection and payment service, IT, information technology, and so on. Mr. Rajendran was the Chief Executive Officer of Association of Mutual Fund in India. He also held various positions in Corporation Bank, including the General Manager. He was Executive Director of Bank of Maharashtra, was a chairman and managing director of Canara Bank. With these, I proudly introduce eminent and seasoned banker with a solid grassroots experience in the Indian banking system, none other than Mr. C.V.R. Rajendran. He will deliberate on the topic banking in COVID times. I wish all of you a fruitful session ahead. Over to you, Rajendra sir. Thank you.
There is a light at the end of the tunnel, whether the tunnel is too long. At the time when we talked about too long, I thought it will be 1 year. We never thought it will be more than 3 years now, right? Even before we reach the tunnel end, we have come to a long tunnel now. There's no idea for any one of us when this tunnel will end and when we will see the light of the light at the end of the tunnel, right? It is a major challenge. None of us living today has the experience of a similar nature in the past. Even though people are talking about the wartime when lockdown is common and businesses were locked down, 1930s, maybe 1940s, some people may be alive who have seen that, where complete lockdown was implemented, businesses were in. But in those days, not this many banks were there. Most of them are doing business only with their own capital. Not much of borrowings was there to this extent. Today, businesses are built mainly with the bank's capital. So, earlier days when I joined the bank, I remember you have to bring in 25% of the money. We used to pay 75% of the money, then we start a business. So, bank gives almost 3 times of the money which you bring in, both for working capital as well as for the term loans. Later on, when the infrastructure companies come into existence in a big way, what they did is they did a round tripping of the money and hardly they brought any capital, but they built businesses for lakhs of crores only with the bank capital. So it's a highly leveraged. So at some point of time, I have seen even 10 is to 90, 10% of the promoter's capital and 90% is the borrowed capital. All these things worked out when there was an inflationary economy, right? When we were having a licensing system, when goods were manufactured in limited numbers. I always remember a case when I became a branch manager, I wanted to buy a scooter. I went to the Bajaj scooter. In our days, this Bajaj Chetak is a dream vehicle for us. I went to the Bajaj showroom and asked, I would like to have a Chetak scooter. Yes, sir. You have to pay an advance by 9,650 rupees. I have to wait for 9 years to take the delivery. 9 years for Bajaj Chetak. If you want Bajaj Super, I will deliver within 2 years, but you have to pay the full money now. That is a period where we lived. When there was a licensing, it is simply a cost plus contract. Whatever be the cost, you fix your margin on that, you sell it, it goes at a premium. The senior people like me will understand, we have bought a Horlicks in those days in the black market, right? When the Horlicks is licensed, only limited quantities are manufactured, we used to sell it in the black market. There was a black market for everything. Until 1991, when we opened the economy and said that there is no need for license, you can manufacture anything you want, things have changed. In 89, I remember I bought a car, Maruti car, second hand, Maruti 800, for 80,000 rupees. The original price itself is 85,000, but you cannot get it. So I bought it in the secondary market. Probably in the year 90, I bought it in the year 89. 89, I bought it. In the year 99, I sold it for 95,000 rupees. Having bought a car for 80,000 rupees, after 10 years, you sold it for 95,000 rupees. The senior people in the team will understand, we sold ambassador cars like that. You buy an ambassador car, which when reaches the threshold, you have to re-weld it completely. That is a quality. Ultimately, you maintain it for 10-15 years, you will sell it and you will make a profit. In those days, borrowing at any rate of interest is okay because you are going to have an appreciation. But today, you buy an Audi car and bring it out of the showroom and try to sell it, you will lose 30% of the value immediately. There is no secondary market for anything today. So in these times, borrowing at a high cost and building businesses is not the right thing to do. All those businesses which have leveraged to a large extent are facing the most problem now. The stock market, how they are selecting the company today is who is having the least leverage. If you are highly leveraged, you are going to go down. That is what the market thinks. So least leverage companies are the most preferred companies in the market today. 1:2 seems to be the debt equity ratio. If you have 1 rupee as a capital, you can borrow maximum 2 rupees, not more than that. That is what today seems to be the prudent management. I should not quote individual companies, but for clarity, I'll tell you. You remember Adak Group, Anil Ambani Group, when it was divided, Mukesh has taken up all the old businesses, old generation business of refining petrol and all. All the new generation businesses like telecom, infrastructure, finance, everything has come to our younger brother. In fact, he was running the Reliance Capital, which had the insurance company, which had the mutual fund, which are all very successful ones. And the market capitalization was very high. So we thought Anil to be a great guy to come forward. But ultimately, how Anil has ended up, you look at it today, absolutely all the companies are insolvent and the banks are fighting to get back the money. LIC has written off thousands of crores in his company. On the other side, even Mukesh was not less in leverage. At some point of time, he had more than 4,50,000 crores of borrowing. That's what paper reports are indicating. In Jio, which is not a profit-making company, the borrowing was more than 2 lakh crores of rupees, right? All on the name of Reliance. Any bank which is supplying the mine, looking at the business losing lakhs and lakhs of rupees, lakhs and lakhs of crores every year, might not have lending at all, but banks were lending because they have confidence in the promoter. But all of a sudden, Credit Suisse has come out with a report stating that they are going to downgrade the Reliance rating. Right? Mukesh is a very shrewd businessman. First thing he did is he sold 20% stake in his company, refining company, Carmaco, and announced a deal which is about 1,24,000 crores worth of the money. So he said entire money will go for reducing my debt. Now we are seeing every day he is selling a part of the Jio. Facebook has bought it at a very good price. Today there are more than 5 people who have bought the stake in Jio, including KKR, at a very, very high price. The first thing which he did when the bad times have come is he reduced the liability. He sold his ownership, right? So reduce the liability. If you are highly leveraged, the market is not going to tolerate it. You may be killed. Whatever be the size of the company today, overnight you may disappear. You look at 2 good companies which I have seen in my career. Incidentally, I completed 42 years in banking, not 35 years. Okay. So in the Bhushan Steel, there is a company, Bhushan Steel and Power. These are 2 brothers who are fighting with each other and building the steel capacity. Out of the steel plants I have ever seen, this is one of the most modern steel plant. And this has customized the product in such a way, the ultimate user has to buy it in a almost finished condition. He has to do only machining to fit into the automobile. To that extent, they customize it. Extremely, extremely good companies. The problem was it's highly leveraged. They started from nowhere. It's only with the bank borrowing they have built the entire business. When the bad times come in, they were the first to be knocked off. The entire assets were sold for a song. Somebody else has bought it already. And they lost the business which they have built. Second company, SR Steel, you look at it. Even today, SR Steel is supposed to be one of the best steel available in the market. Many of the industries are using the SR Steel because of the quality. Again, it's a highly leveraged company, diversified into various unrelated areas. They lost their control. SR Steel is sold to somebody else today. This is new in India, but this is nothing new in USA. If some problem comes, US courts act very fast. The entire insolvency proceedings will be completed within 90 days and the companies will be sold. The ownership changes. Normally it goes for a $5, 5 cents on a dollar, that kind of price. The new owner finds it profitable only at 5 cents or 10 cents a dollar. That is how the companies are sold. Even today, a lot of companies are getting insolvent and getting sold in USA. Our problem in the country is it is not easy to declare a company as an insolvent and bring an end to that and change the management is not easy in the country. So the unviable businesses continue forever fighting in the courts with the banks and making it an unproductive asset for all the people concerned. Maybe the promoters are enjoying it. So one lesson which all of us have to learn, whether this is this recession or the previous 5 recessions which we have seen over a period. At least I have seen in this my 42 years, 5 recessions starting from 1970, 82, and 91, and 2002 and 2008. All the recessions, only the leverage has killed the people. When the borrowing is available, people have borrowed heavily. Now, only advice today, if at all I'm qualified to do that, is reduce your leverage. Sell your non-core assets. The problem of Indians is that whatever business they are in, everybody is there in the real estate business. Right? Your business may be gold jewelry manufacturing, but you have real estate investment. Your jewelry may be textiles, you have real estate investment. This real estate was giving so much of return in the past. People have gone for real estate in a very big way. Most of the real estate transactions, depending on the town where you are operating, if it is Delhi, 10:90 is the white and black component. That is how deals are done in Delhi. Bombay is the least, maybe 20% is in black, 80% is in white. Maybe come to smaller towns, still the black portion is very high. So real estate was going on because of the black money circulation, and it was giving excellent return for the people over a period. Wherever you buy, you are able to sell it at a multiple rate and you are making money. So every business has diverted certain portion of their capital and the bank borrowing into the real estate and tried their luck. And we have seen at least over a period, every 10 years a cycle comes for real estate. Today a cycle is down. Even though we have not come out of the previous cycle at all, now the new downward cycle has come. And we are clueless about where the real estate will end today. If this work from home is becoming a rule, just before this meeting, I had a meeting with Reserve Bank of India. Reserve Bank of India talking to the bank heads about the COVID preparation. This COVID is likely to last for another 2 years, people are telling. We don't know when the vaccine is going to come, when the problems are going to be sorted out. When the rainy season comes, whether it will come with the more vigorous. When the winter season comes, whether it is going to come with the more vigorous. Whether we have to live with this COVID for another 2 years. If that is the case, what they are asking, how prepared you are to work from home. So I never worked from home in my life. I used to come to office on Sundays also. But office is the only place where I work. I'm comfortable working only in the office. The home environment is not very good for me. I get diverted very often. Today, I was compulsorily locked down in Chennai for about 37 days and here for another 14 days. So slowly we have started learning working from home, and we find work from home is much more productive than working from office because interference is very low and you work for long extended hours. All the software companies also learned that working from home is much more productive because employees are given a quota in the morning. This is what you have to complete. My children, which are working with various multinational companies today, they start working from 6 onwards in the morning and they are working up to 11:30 in the night. So they get extracted more from these companies actually. So work from home has become an accepted one. The security features are there. And TCS is today talking about 3/4 of my employees can work from home, he says. I have seen a business in Chennai which has borrowed more than 1,800 crores for building commercial spaces, and most of it is occupied by TCS. And if TCS decides that I don't need this space, my people will be working from home, you leave only one floor for me to maintain the systems, otherwise my people will come only as and when required, and the entire space will be surrendered. And where is going to be the successive bidder for this space and what will be the rent for it? You look at it. The real estate is the industry which is going to get affected very, very high. Similarly, if a rule comes and people need not work from Bombay, right? So I have worked from Bombay for about 20 years. Life is horrible there. For our capacity, I can buy a house somewhere beyond Andheri. I live in Yogeshwari. My office is in Churchgate. And every day during the rainy times, I travel 2.5 hours to reach my home in the evening. And it takes 1.5 hours for me to reach the office in the morning if I start before 8 o'clock. You spend 4 hours effectively on the car in a day. So naturally, that 4 hours is unproductive. Now they say you work from home only at Yogeshwari, you come to the office whenever you have meetings. Now we are able to talk to about 1,000 people. On the other day, Prem Vatsa, who is the Fairfax chief, our investor, had a conference with all of us. There are 2,300 people participating from more than 100 countries on a WebEx platform. It was so crystal clear, like the moderator said here. All of us were sending the queries only on the chat mode, and he answered all the queries as if it is one-to-one talk. Meetings are so effective. Otherwise, I used to travel to Canada, 16 hours flight from Bombay, to meet Mr. Vatsa and have a 1-hour meeting with him. Today, it is proved that there is no need for it. We can sit at our homes and conveniently do it. So real estate will undergo a change. The Bombay real estate will lose the entire value. I will be comfortable if I am at Thrissur. It is very good to live in Thrissur and talk to the people. It is so clean, so neat, and there is no traffic jam. The quality of life is good here. So maybe Pollachi is a much better place than Chennai. People will work from Pollachi, right? The smaller towns with required infrastructure will be the future real estate, and the major towns will lose the focus. If you have borrowed the money from the bank and invested in the real estate in the major towns, thinking that interest income is going to come, rental income is going to come, you are killed today. Okay, this will change the way we are living, unlike the previous period. This COVID is going to change the way we are living. Which are the industries going to survive? We are yet to find out. There are so many conferences we are having with the CRISIL, with various people, investors, and the merchant bankers. On the other day, I was listening to somebody, he said that the cardboard manufacturing industry is going to do extremely well. I was wondering, why? What the recent cardboard industry is going to do well? Today, everything is a home delivery. You order anything in Amazon, Big Bazaar, or Big Basket, or any other thing. So naturally, they put even the vegetables into a carton box and they deliver it. The consumption of carton boxes have gone up so substantially. He says logistic will be the future, and the carton boxes will be consumed in a large scale. Right? The consumption pattern is going to undergo a big change. You just look at the franchise operations or the multi-location operations, like Krishna Sweets. Krishna Sweets is a Coimbatore-based company. I remember we are lending him when he started his business for the Krishna Iyer himself. He had only one single shop in Coimbatore. That loan itself we are struggling to pay in those days. Today, wherever you go, whichever airport you see, Krishna Sweets is there. For them, what is the investment? You rent out a place and invest 1 crore of rupees or so, and the ambience on the setup. And there is a centralized kitchen which services all these things, and you start the operations. Now the shops are closed for the past 2 months. There are more than 20,000 employees are there in that company, I am told. Can you afford to pay? The government says you pay all of them 1 month salary, right? Every month you salary you continue to pay. Their major expense is salary. They say that several crores of rupees is required only to meet the salary, only to meet the rent. And all the stock which was lying on the lockdown day has expired and the entire stock is lost. Even the raw material which they have stored has become obsolete today, difficult to use. Company has lost. Company has not built any assets, right? There are no assets in the company. These are all leased premises. Today, to restart the operation, the kind of money which has lost, whether all the units will come back again, whether all of us will go back to the restaurants to eat again, I don't know. When the restaurants are opening up, whether we will adopt the old habits, go back to the restaurants in big way, like our Bharat restaurant, where we will be standing behind 2 people, When I went to the Bharat restaurant, I remember, they said, this is the best restaurant. I went there along with my wife. One person is eating, one person is standing behind him. I am told I have to stand as a second person behind and you have to wait for the first person to complete, second person to complete, only third person will sit in the Bharat restaurant, right? That is the popularity of the restaurant. Today, with that kind of social distancing, whether many of us will go back to the restaurant, because just before the lockdown started, I was staying in Taj President in Colaba. So I was having some work in the year end, so I was staying in that place. Over a period, slowly the guest has come down. One day I went for a morning breakfast, and in the entire ground there are 2 floors. So one is a raised floor, one is a lower floor. The entire lower floor, only one floor was sitting, nobody else was sitting, and the other floor is crowded. So I had chosen in the lower floor and sat. Only when I went back to pick up something, I found that fellow is a Chinese guy. Once a Chinese guy sit there, the entire floor, nobody else is willing to sit. He may not be a Chinese guy. He looks like a Chinese guy. He could be an Assam guy. He could be a Manipur guy, but he looks like a Chinese guy. Nobody is willing to go near it. Within 2 days, the entire hotel is vacated. I was the only single guest there. The hotel requested me, sir, would you like to continue? Otherwise, we are thinking of closing down the operation. I moved out. So today, many businesses, what is the investment in these hotels, Indian hotel as a whole, hotel as a whole? What is the employee numbers you look at it? Simple maintenance, how much it will cost, and when we are going to recoup it. We are not aware of it. How these businesses are going to survive, we have to find out. How to bring back the confidence of the people to ask them to come to Kerala. Yes, we are still a God's country. Our resorts are safe to land here. To bring that confidence itself will take time. If people are coming to Kerala, we are going to quarantine them for 14 days, and then only you have to enjoy the vacation. They are not going to come to Kerala, right? So there are many challenges. We don't know which businesses are going to survive this challenge, who has a capacity to survive. But certainly those people who are highly leveraged, interest will run, right? In all the schemes, whatever they have given is only a moratorium for repayment of the installment. You need not repay for the next 3 months or 6 months. Still, we will not consider you as a defaulter. If you are considered as a defaulter, you cannot raise money anymore from anyone else. So this relief is only for not paying the installments, but interest is going to run. The interest will never sleep. Because I have to pay my deposit as the interest. My raw material is got from the market by paying interest. I'll continue to charge interest. The 6 months installment will also be added to your principal, and you have to service it over a period. If businesses comes back with full speed after 6 months, probably over a period of next 30 months, the funded interest term loan which you are talking about can be serviced. If a business is not going to resume immediately, like we are talking about real estate, if you are sitting on a borrowed money, the better thing is you find out other ways of closing down the liability and reduce your borrowing. The highly leveraged companies are the problem today. So most of the relief package has come as a liquidity support and encouraging the bankers. I remember we had a meeting in, I think we had an interview by Malayalam Manorama, where myself and Muthoot Finance Mr. George was there. In the discussion, they asked, what do you want? Not the liquidity for the bankers. Bankers are not willing to take decision today because we have burnt our fingers heavily. For the past 4 or 5 years, the kind of NPS we have seen in our life, the kind of action initiated against the bank people, today nobody is willing to take a credit decision. Even though 7 lakh crores of liquidity is available in the market, which people are putting into the Reserve Bank of India at 3% today, but people are not willing to take a decision to lend at 10% or 12% today. People are willing to borrow at 22% also, but there is no willing to take the decision. If you are able to give a guarantee for these loans, probably lending will pick up. That is what I mentioned in the Malayalam Manorama. Today, that is what the government has brought in. To infuse confidence to the people, what they say, the incremental lending which you are going to do for SMEs today will be covered by a guarantee scheme. So government will guarantee this in case the repayments are not coming from there. Government will pay the money, and government will take action through a Revenue Recovery Act or something to recover the money from them. But still, I have not seen loans flowing in a big way. If you are a borrowing company for a working capital, and if you need more, even though 20% is the indication given by many banks, when the 20% is given to you, there is a stock statement you have to submit to the banks in which you should have stock, and subject to the margin, stock and receivables, you will get the money. Today, there are many companies which got the enhancement done, but they don't have a drawing power because stock available is much less than the original drawing power which they had. That stock has depleted in value. Today, even though limits are available, availment is not happening because there is no drawing power in your account. From the CSB Bank, what we did, we reduced the margins on the stock which we are asking. If we are paying 25% margin on the stock, normally 40 to 50% margin on the receivables, and that is what the bank knows. We said that we will give you 90% on the stock. only 10% margin you provide on the stock. And similarly, on the receivables, we will give you 75%, only 25% you give as a margin. So automatically, your drawing power has gone up by 15% in the stock and 25% in the receivables. And overall, after 3 months or 6 months, whatever be the moratorium period, this excess drawing will convert it into a term loan for 36 months. For 6 months, you pay only the interest. For the remaining 30 months, you can service the loan. That is a scheme which you have done in this case. Every business is different. Every business requirement is different. You must have the patience to go and explain to your banker what is your business, why do you need money, when your income stream will stabilize to service the loan, so what kind of moratorium you need for it, and whether we can repay after 6 months the enhanced portion. Because as of now, RBI says that you are given moratorium for 6 months. After 6 months, you will pay. Within 6 months, unless your business stabilizes, the interest for 6 months and the installment for 6 months cannot be paid in a single month. Naturally, that is why the subsequent circular of RBI says the FITL, that is funded interest term loan, will be given to you, which can be serviced over a period. So you must go to the banker and negotiate. For example, if you are a government exporter, like what report people are doing today, if you have taken an order from the foreign markets, you get an order specific for spring season, an order for summer season, an order for winter season. That is how the order comes. Now, literally, we have lost 2 seasons. Whatever orders we have taken for the spring and the summer may not move now. The sports services were not there. The lockdown was announced. Government industry has not started working now because with the social distancing, government cannot function. The spinning can function. Government cannot function. The government has concentration of people. So naturally, government has not started operationalize yet. So by the time they operationalize, 2 seasons or 3 seasons are lost. Once the season is lost, the same fabric cannot be used for the next season. For the winter season, we use a heavy fabric called a raised fabric, which can be used only during the winter season. So if you miss out this winter, your stock has become an obsolete stock, which should not be included in your stock statement. So the redundant stock will be removed from the stock statement. The non-moving stocks will be removed from the stock statement. As a result, your drawing power comes down again. If you don't do it, when your auditors come and do it, or when a stock auditor comes from the bank and does it, you will lose your drawing power and your account will be considered as an NPA on the date because there is no sufficient drawing power. Your drawing is much more than that. First, you have to go back to your organization, your bank, and say that this is bought for the current year winter season. This year winter season, it is not likely to go. My buyer has agreed to lift it for the next winter season, which is going to be 1 year more. So allow me to include this stock in the stock statement for the next 1 year, instead of the fact that it is already lying with me for 6 months. Anything lying for more than 6 months is considered as an obsolete stock, which cannot be included. Now you have to talk to the bank and get a specific exemption. This stock should be included as my stock for the drawing power purpose, and that should be permitted. One big relief has come for the contractors. Normally, most of the state governments are stressed on the financial side. Getting the payment from the government is a very big problem for all of us. Right? So even after the completion of the work, the PWD engineers refuse to come and measure the work and give a certification of completion. Because they know once they give the certification, then they have to go on and raise a bill. There is no treasury, there is no money in the treasury. So the raising the bill itself was delayed for the contractors. I know many contractors in our state also who are struggling to get the money from the government. Now it is true of most of the state governments. State governments are not having money to pay these people unless it is a funded project. It is a World Bank funded project, or it is a central government funded project where pre-funding has happened, like in your smart city and all. All other projects, there is no funding and the contractors are not getting the payment. They are given a bank guarantee raised from the bank to them for the performance guarantee. Even though 90% of the work is completed, the government doesn't release the guarantee. Only after the 100% of the work is completed and there is a minimum period for which they withhold the guarantee, then only they return the guarantee. Now the work itself got expanded because of the COVID. All the labor has gone back. We were not able to work for the past 3 months. We may not work for another 3 to 6 months until you get back the labor. And as a result, in the road projects which are taken up, you may not complete in time. Governments will give extension of time, but if your guarantee is also retained for the extended period, you end up paying the guarantee commission to the bank. And on the other hand, your guarantee limit is fixed, and you will not be in a position to get any more work from the government to keep the balance sheet going. So what the government has announced today is the proportionate guarantee can be released. If 60% of the work is completed, I will release the 60% of the guarantee so that you will have working capital cycle coming in. Very good effort from the central government. And I'm told Maharashtra government has already implemented. I'm sure all other governments will also implement. So they get additional work. The revival will happen only with the infrastructure industry. That any recession, revival happens only by government spending. Government has to spend not by giving free food. Free food is only for the time being. Government has to spend a lot on the infrastructure projects. If you start spending on infrastructure projects, there are more than 100 industries which will get paid, right? From quarry, the machinery manufacturers, the labor, the electrical items, your jelly or your car machines, the road laying machines, the construction equipment. There are more than 100 industries related to the infrastructure which will survive. That is how the revival is going to come. First, the infrastructure spending will increase. The labor will get the money. When the labor starts spending, first all of us will spend only on the essentials, what we call it as non-discretionary. Right? So when the lockdown has happened, I was in Chennai. After the Bombay, I came to Chennai because I was driven from Bombay. In Chennai, the only shops opened were only the vegetable shops, right? The entire problem of Chennai has come only from Coimbatore market, which is the largest market in Asia for the vegetables. All our spending during this period is confined only to the grocery, vegetables, and meat products, right? Nothing more. The essentials only. Nobody thought about changing the car. Nobody thought about changing the TV. They all lived with it. All the white goods, refrigerator or air conditioner nobody wants an air conditioner because it's a danger, they say. Right? So all the non-discretionary items, white goods will take more time to come back again. So the sales to pick up to the original level, it will take time. People will conserve the capital. You must be in cash. That is what the businessman thinks. That's what even an ordinary person, even a coolie will think. I must preserve the cash because my employment is not guaranteed. I am not sure I'll get my wages tomorrow. Even if the wages come, there is no certainty people are going to spend. If people are not going to spend, most of the businesses will not survive today. Forget jewelry, which is not going to happen. Probably that is the only business which gained in the lockdown because the gold prices are going up, right? But still, if you talk to the jewelers, you must be having a lot of jewelers among you. They are not happy about it because it is not the jewelry value going up. The rotation has to come, which has not happened in the jewelry business. Today, the way in which we are doing marriages, I keep quoting it everywhere. I worked in 7 states. Whenever I go to marriages, I always tell them, you must do marriages like what Nayar community do marriages in Kerala. Because 40 years back, I came for a marriage of my colleague in Kerala. That marriage was in Guruvayur. I came from Mangalore. I got out of the trains, got freshened up and went to the Guruvayur temple for marriage. As I have always seen a marriage which is a ritualistic one, with Agni and all. Our marriages take hours together. I have seen 200 marriages have taken place on the same day in the Guruvayur. Every marriage takes only 3 minutes. They just go up, tie the knot and come back, right? They have served me a cool ring on that spot. Okay, in those days, I'm talking about 40 years back. And they are given a token on my hand. Go and have your food on the Krishna Bhavan on the next door and you can go. So that is the way marriage is to be done. That's what I used to say. Marriage should not be a very expensive item. We should not spend so much on it. After 36 years, when I came to Thrissur and I have seen the marriages happening today, I was wondering Kerala culture has become like a Punjabi culture or a North Indian culture today, where we have theme marriages. North Indian marriages are theme marriages. It is spread over a period of 3 days or 5 days. The 5 days function happens in 5 different countries. If a Marwadi is inviting me for a marriage, he sends me 5 air tickets also. The Mehendi function is in Thailand. The Sangeet is in Malaysia. And ultimately, marriage is in Mahalakshmi grounds in Bombay. So you get 5 invitations and 5 air tickets attached to it. So that expensive marriages. Today, marriage is happening with only 20 people, they say. So Tamil Nadu, you cannot participate. More than 20 people cannot function. You cannot join the function. To that extent, it has come down. How many people who are related to the marriage, you will remember how many jewelries, how many textile shops, how many silk jewelers from silk weavers from Kanjipuram and other places, how many catering contractors, how many people attached to it, how many interior decorators. All these people have lost the business over a time. They don't know what to do. They are not seen in their lifetime. There may be some busy months, there are odd months where there are no marriages in Tamil Nadu, probably. The Christian marriages are there, the Muslim marriages are there, they are able to compensate. Because all the communities are today celebrating marriage in a very big way. There was a demand all through. But my Samandhi has constructed a A-class Kalyana Mandapam in my native place. Only last year he opened it. Okay. A very big Kalyana Mandapam. He's from Oman. And he said that 55 most days in Hindu calendar. And we too have large amount of Christian population and Muslim population in my Ramnad district. So they will have another 55 marriages at least. 110 marriages happening. And we celebrate the 60th birthday in a big way. So that is because many people, most of us are living beyond 60. So all these things, he has given me a project report stating that 200 days my Kalyana Mandapam will be occupied. Okay. Only 3 marriages have taken place in the Kalyana Mandapam. Now the Kalyana Mandapam is closed. We have invested so much into that Kalyana Mandapam these days. And today Kalyana Mandapam is not a business at all. Right? It will come back. I'm sure that it will come back. All these things will come back after 2 years or 1 year or 2 years. But until then, whether you have the capacity to pull on, whether if there are only limited number of marriages happening, whether you have the capacity to service the interest at least, even if moratorium is given. Otherwise, do we have alternative assets which we can dispose it of and reduce the loan? The difficult point today is, are we willing to let go of our assets, right? Let go is a major thing. See, I belong to a community called Natukota Chettiars. I don't know how many of you are aware of it. We had a major influence in Kerala. All the textile mills in Kerala were started by my community. You don't know, Alahappa Textiles, which was the first textile mill in Trishur, belongs to one of my relative actually, right? There is a Karpagam theatre, there is a theatre in Coimbatore, all of you are aware, in Araspuram. The man has alone started more than 11 textile mills in Kerala. In those days, Kerala was a textile center, right? Today, nothing is surviving. Originally, we were the first community because Hindu community never crosses the ocean and go to the other countries. It's not permitted as per the religious rules. No community has gone across the ocean to reach out to other countries other than the Gujarati community and our community. Our community is a very small community like a Parsi community. Chidambaram, the previous finance minister, belongs to my community. The EAD Pari, TI Cycle, these are all the people from the community. In those days, we are the first community to cross the ocean, and we had our money lending shops. What Muthoot and Manappuram is doing today, we were doing it across the country. Even in Kerala, we had a lot of Chettiars running these pawnbroking shops. And we were living in Malaysia, we are living in Singapore, we are having in Burma. Burma is a major place where we lived. We were living in Indonesia, small places. We were not permitted to carry the family along with us. Only the man can go and establish establishment. And 3 years they will be there. He will come back after 3 years. The next brother will go for the next 3 years to manage the business. When the World War happens, all of them left Burma. They all walked back from Burma to our native place. Right? We lost everything in Burma. Quite a large number of population which was settled in Burma has to leave Burma without anything. Because we have a lot of fortresses built in Kashi. Even today, the Kashi Vishwanath temple, all the 3 pujas is our birthright. We are doing it even today. We have it in Calcutta. We have it in Nasik. We had it in Panjavadi. So all through the way we have the soldiers built in those days for religious reasons. These people came from Burma through Calcutta and stayed in these places. After 6 months, they reached our native place. My grandfather is one who left Burma like that. It took 6 months for him to walk down and reach a place. Even when my father was conceived, he passed away. None of us know what are the assets in Burma, what documents, because he had not brought anything. Today, when I am seeing the people walking back to the Uttar Pradesh and Bihar, I recollect what has happened during the World War II. Even today, lakhs and lakhs of people are walking across to reach the place. 700 kilometers, 800 kilometers, people are walking and dying on the way. Being a democratic country, we are not able to support it. Many times I cry after seeing all these things. So the things have changed a lot. The person who has suffered so much to reach back the native place, will he come back soon? He will come back, but not soon, right? These memories are very difficult to lose. Today, Burma government has announced that all of us can come back. Vietnam, we had a lot of properties. As a community, we had a lot of properties in Vietnam. Vietnam gave an offer to all my community people. All those people can come back and we will hand over the lands back to you. You can run it. Only thing is you cannot sell it. You can conduct your business here, but you have to invest here. Not even a single family has accepted because 3 generations are over. Nobody knows the local language. Nobody is willing to shift. We lost everything, right? This has happened in history. That's what I'm saying. Let go of things. We let everything to go in Burma. We let everything to go in Vietnam. People walked back. It took 3 generations for us to rebuild the things, right? Whatever was left out here, whatever they have earned, they are not brought back. Only palatial buildings are there in my native place. If you go to the Karaikudi area, most of the Malayalam films are made in those bungalows. 16,000 square feet houses with 100,000 journals are there. 1,000 windows are there in a house in Karaikudi. 1,000 windows. Okay. In cinemas we are seeing. Only that is left out here. No assets. We have to rebuild the entire business. The most difficult question today, how to let things go and restart the business. Right? You have to what has to be retained? What is the core thing to be maintained? The Prime Minister said on the day, I would not like to lose the lives of the people. Right? Many people are discussing today whether the lockdown was announced much earlier, whether this kind of a lockdown is required and all. He said on the first day, I don't want my people to lose their lives. But when you are talking to somebody living in this electric cremation ground, I was talking to somebody on the day. It is the number of bodies coming has come down to 1/4 of the normal days, right? Before COVID, if I am getting 16 cases a day, 16 bodies a day, today we are getting only 4 days. The normal death has also come down. Okay. When the hospitals are closed, the normal deaths have also come down. So today, the life is most important. That is the important decision which the government has taken. That is what every human being has to take. Life is important. We have to preserve it. Then we have to, what we have to preserve, the core business I have to preserve, right? What is my core business? I am in the jewelry retailing. That is my core business, which I would like to retain. Real estate is a diversification which I have done. Anyway, it is not succeeded or I got stuck up. If I wait for another 10 years or 15 years, I may get back the price which I have invested. So I will wait for 10 years and keep the bank loan and keep it growing with interest. I will service the interest. If you think you lose your core business also. So you have to choose. This is the main line of business which I have to preserve. All other things are only the ancillaries which are not important to me. Let me get disposed of, right? Dispose of all the non-core businesses and focus only on the core competence. That is the right way to go. If you are not on a borrowed capital, if it is your own surplus money which you are invested in the real estate or any other diversification, keep it. No problem. I am sure the market will come back. We will get back the money and we may get 2 times, 10 times, whatever it is. But if you are on a borrowed capital, this cycle is not going to end very soon. It is going to be a much longer cycle. Okay. So it may take longer time for us to come back. Whatever relief government has announced or RBI has announced is only postponement of the installments repayment, right? That means that if you are strong in your business, if you think that if another 6 months, if I am not paying back the bank, then installment and interest, if it is saved in my working capital, if I am able to get additional working capital from the bank, within 6 months, my business will stabilize. Many businesses will stabilize. As I said, There are many businesses where people will come back. Non-discretionary items will take time. Will come back immediately. Discretionary items will take more time to come back, maybe 1 year, 2 years. What is your nature of business? How much more time you expect it to come back? Then whether you are prepared to withstand the losses in between. For example, even the two-wheeler, I thought it may not come back. Automobile industry as a whole, it will take time to come back. That's what we believe. But when we talk to the people today, most of the people are going to buy the two-wheeler. That's what we understand now. People don't want to use the public transportation. When I went to Bombay in 1993, I have not seen many of the scooters or bikes on the Bombay roads. All of us used to go only by train. Even those who are having cars will bring the car, park it in the station, will get into a train. That is how we commute in Bombay. Today, Bombay, you breathe into each other's nose, right? So you cannot get into the trains at all. Little affluent people would not like to get back to the train or the best buses today. They all want to travel on the road. Even on the Bombay roads today, the two-wheeler traffic is more. So people would like to have more and more two-wheeler because that is considered to be secure. People will reduce the eating out because that is not supposed to be good for them. People may reduce the non-vegetarian food because people feel that that is not very safe, right? How the chicken price has gone to 23 rupees we have seen. When the lockdown came in, how the mutton prices have gone to 1,000 rupees also we have seen. The food habits change. Depending upon the business which you are there, and depending upon the time it is going to, lead time it is going to come back to the normalcy. Your borrowing level has to be reduced. By selling the non-core assets, even at a loss, you may not get even the price at which you bought it. But still it is worth instead of paying interest for another 10 years to the bank and retaining the non-core asset. What is your core business? You have to strengthen. You have to reduce the borrowing. You borrow now. Not that I am not willing to lend. That is my business. If you are borrowing more, I am happy about it. That is not a problem. But as a business, the leverage businesses will end up making money only for the bank and not for yourself. Only interest component will be more in your entire working. So reduce the working capital cycle as a whole. I was working with the Maruti. I was a banker for Maruti. Maruti introduced a concept called just-in-stock. Right? Just-in-stock is just-in-time stock. The supplier, the vendor, has to bring the parts of the Maruti and supply it on the assembly line. They don't take the stock even for a week. Earlier days, they used to have godowns for storing many items. Maybe 2,000 components are getting into the Maruti car. All the 2,000 stock are stocked on the assembly line as well as on the godowns. They dispense with the godowns and said that the suppliers have to supply on the assembly line. Today, I am going to manufacture 300 cars. I need 305 parts on that table, right? That is what you have to supply in the morning. For the next shift, again, you have to bring and supply. I will not have any stock at all. My stock is only on the assembly line. If the car assembly takes 2.5 hours, only 2.5 hours is the total stock time required in that place. Work in progress. Once it is at the assembly line, you see an assembly line, how the cars are assembled. So by the time each part is placed and it moves to the packing section, and immediately it gets into the lorry and the invoice is prepared. The invoice is sent to the bank and they discount it. Bank discount and gives some money to the bank. Bank collects it from the dealer subsequently. That's called a dealer financing. So Maruti never invests in the stock at all. Such a large factory with so much varieties, their investment in stock is zero. It is only the component manufacturers who are investing in their stock. How to reduce the entire working capital cycle? How to have an efficient stock management? How to collect your creditors at the earliest? How to get more credit from your suppliers? How to collect the receivables very fast, even giving a discount? And how to be in cash? The people who are in cash are the king. Cash is the king in this period. Create liquidity. You may have 1,000 crores worth of assets, but if you don't have your liquidity, your assets will be sold for a song. That is sure. I have a company which is running multiple educational institutions in Coimbatore and Tamil Nadu. Everything, you name anything, it is there. Okay, right from medical college, the engineering college, good names. Not a bad name. They're all, even today, they are demanded courses. Ayurveda college, everything is there. Its assets are worth 20,000 crores in claims. This borrowing may not be even 1,000 crores, but it does not have the money to service the interest today. The banks take possession of this property and sell the 20,000 crores asset. You may not get even 5,000 crores today. Who wants to buy an educational institution today? So that situation should not come. You should be prepared for it. My advice is that sell all non-core assets and reduce your borrowing. And if it takes time, in the meantime, meet the banker, tell your exact problems. Don't conceal anything. Don't give a false stock statement. That is what many of the companies do. You don't have stock. They give a wrong stock statements to have the drawing power and draw it. One day the bank comes for an inspection and they found there is not much of a stock. They declare as a defaulter. And they maybe declare you as a willful defaulter, you get into a problem. Tell the truth. Banker is like a wife. You cannot lie to your banker. You cannot lie to your doctor. You cannot lie to your banker. Explain your problem. And this is where my capital is struck. This is what I want. Unless you provide me this kind of moratorium, this kind of funded interest term loan, I may not be in a position to serve it. This is my cash flow. This is my expected cash flow. Out of the expected cash flow, I need so much for my business. The remaining amount, this is the money available for service in the bank. Accordingly, you restructure the loan. You have to ask for it. And you have to define the remaining period, elongate the period. Restructuring is not permitted by the RBI yet, but still it will come. That is what I hope we are all representing. At least this installment postponement is not a big relief. To be frank, we have offered it across the board to everyone. 72% of the people said no, we don't want any postponement, we would like to service. Because people understand postponement is not a solution, it only adds to the interest. So they are opted. 28% of the people have genuine problems who are not opted for this postponement of the installments. So my advice is that if it is required, go and approach the bank, explain it, elongate your working capital cycle, and tell them I have to hold the stock for a longer period, and get the period extended, and get the 6 months moratorium, and service the interest if it is possible. Even if you have taken a moratorium, if there is a cash flow, try to pay to the bank. That a banker will also have a good impression about you. So other schemes, whatever government has announced, it's all for giving comfort to the bank, giving a guarantee for the bank, giving a bond buying portfolio so that you will be in a position to issue the bonds. These are all creating more and more comfort to the bank. Most of the help which the government is talking about is coming through the banking channel. Right? So necessarily you have to go to the bank and discuss with them and find a solution. Nothing else.
Excellent session with a simple solution for the trade industry, especially how to manage their working capital cycle, how they can manage their stock and all. Many of the trade industry really want this solution. You have already explained. Let us move to the question answer session. Those who are having questions, kindly raise your hand. We can unmute and view. In between, we have some questions.
Yeah.
This
One
is regarding
question which is appearing is asking when the hospitality industry will come back.
Yes.
So hospitality industry has to change its model itself, right? Today, the entire Taj hotels are available to us for COVID isolation, right? The Taj hotel took a decision. You remember, Taj is not a cheaper hotel, right? And maintenance of the room itself will cost more than 5,000 rupees for him. Tata is the first person who said that all my hotels are available for isolation wards. Okay. And today, if you stay in Taj, I'm talking about Taj main hotel in Bombay, they charge only 5,000 rupees for you, including 3-time food, breakfast, lunch, and dinner together. They are providing 5,000. Not profitable. Certainly, one is a service, right? Second thing, he recover at least a cost. This is a fixed cost. All the employees' expenses. He has to retain the employees. He get back. What we talk about here, recovery of the cost, right? At least the recovery of the cost is there. You are not making profit. A portion of the fixed cost is recovered from the client. This is a model which is adopted. Most of the Taj hotels are full, I am told, with these patients, right? If you think if I put the COVID patient into it, whether the next guest will come, he will come. Right? No problem. We have to do the sanitization later on and we will bring it back. Some of the Tirupur people, when I'm talking to them, most of them have gone into manufacturing. This entire protective dress, right, which the health workers are wearing, the cleaning workers are having, all these things manufacturing, they quickly shipped over. They have imported machines from China. We have funded some other people. They are manufacturing masks today. Mask manufacturing capacity is so high today in the market today. So whether you are able to change your business model to suit these requirements, right? Today, if the COVID is not addressed, the Bandra Kurla complex, there is a massive exhibition ground. Those who have attended the exhibition ground in Bombay in the Jogeshwari, after the Andheri, there is a massive ground. And that is converted into a hospital today, the ready-made hospital. The ground, the sports stadiums are converted into temporary hospitals. Because Bombay hospital capacity is low, patients are more. So you offer your assets, like these kind of utilities also, and you, not that you will make profit, but your losses will be mitigated. When we bring back the people to Kerala, first thing we have, Kerala is having a very good name. You must give the credit to all the channels. We are a role model for the country as a whole. But I have not seen the film Virus earlier, right? During the lockdown only I have seen the film Virus. I was really, really impressed about the way the film was made and the way the government has managed. Sitting at Kerala, I was there in Kerala at that time, but still I have not noticed this to this extent. This is a government which was tracked every contact person and control the Viva virus in such a big way. Today we are a role model. So probably, if at all there is one state which is to come back sooner, it is Kerala. Even otherwise, the neatness is very high here. We don't have Jobberpattis at all, right? In every town, in every state, there are Jobberpattis is a part of the cities which we don't have. And by and large, we are known for health, right? Health and health-related services. Today, Maharashtra is asking our nurses and doctors to come in, right? Body shopping is a very big business today, right? There's so much of nurses unemployed in this country. Now, our nurses have that kind of a reputation. They will be in demand in all the places across the country. We will be in a position to survive. Whether the patients can be brought here and they can be isolated, we can think about it. I remember there was one large estate owner, gentleman from Bangalore. He's a real estate owner also. He developed a concept. Now maintaining the old people in Japan is becoming very costly. Japan is a very costly country, right? And I'm going to convert all my estates, tea estates and coffee estates, into the old age home for the Japanese people. And he's talking to some people in Japan to convert them as an old age home for Japan. Okay, they will all come into what is this place in Karnataka? Madikere and other places where they will become an old age home. Elderly care is very, very costly all over the country, all over the world, right? And we are the cheapest elderly care country today. Today, Italy is talking about our method only. The US is appreciating our method of controlling the disease, right? US is not able to control. Whether we can be a caregiver for the entire world at the cheapest price. We were talking about medical tourism, right? Medical tourism is later. Today, when a person is affected, whether the even affected person can be brought and sheltered here and we can give care. Our recovery rate, our mortality rate is one of the lowest. We have reputation built around it. If your resorts can be remodeled, accommodate these kind of things, and definitely this COVID is for another 2 years, we'll be in a position to do it. When the COVID fear goes also, whether we can be an old age home for the entire Europe. Europe is going to die, literally. See, other countries will revive. Europe to revive will be very, very difficult. The elderly care in Europe is going to be a big challenge. Japan is a big challenge for the elderly care because their life expectancy has increased, but they are not able to maintain the people. If you are able to we will become old age home for the world as a whole with our caregiving capacity. Probably that is a remodeling of the business of our hotels and resorts, which will bring more business to us.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Time is running short. We will take 2 more questions. One is gold loan growth is driven by MSME segment. Will credit reluctance from banks lead to higher borrowing from gold-based lending business? What are you seeing in this? Question from Priyan.
Today, all the public sector banks at least are under pressure to lend. Okay, finance ministry is calling every day to find out how many loans they are given. Now, one of my previous banks have a target of giving at least 10 loans per day. Okay. In fact, CSB Bank itself has recruited more than 200 people from the market, from other banks, other private sector banks, which are aggressive lenders, to build the MSME business. We are coming in a big way. Okay, we will be in a position to lend. So I look at it as a great opportunity. We must all have that optimism in the mind. Every crisis has bring a big opportunity. So the entire 1991 reforms is because of the crisis which has happened where our LCs are not being accepted by other foreign countries. You cannot import anything from the foreign country because our LCs are not accepted across the country. There is a situation where we went and pledged our gold and taken the one, and then only economic reforms have come in a big way. I'm sure economic reforms is going to come in a big way now also. Crisis period is a period to introduce the reforms. And those people who are expanding the business at this point of time will have a great time. CSB with our capital base of today more than 23%, we are well positioned, and we have recruited a large number of people from the market who are used to this kind of lending. The conventional lending will not work now. Taking a balance sheet, working out your CMA data, finding out the margin will not work now. So we have taken the people from NBFC segments so that this lending can happen. We will support. And I'm sure all the public sector banks will be forced to support. And other banks will also find an opportunity in this market. That's why I'm saying you keep your credit record. Today, first thing when you're coming to the bank, what we are looking at is go to the CIBIL score, right? And whether you are a defaulter. There is nothing is secret today. All your activities are captured, and I can when a person comes at the reception and calls me, says that so and so is coming to see you, just call my case and says that give his horoscope, they'll give my horoscope to me. Where he has borrowed, what is his outstanding, how many days he has defaulted, how much is the borrowing, what are the securities, whether he has created mortgage, what is net worth, what is the GST he has paid for the last year. All those information is available. Okay, when you sit before me, I know everything. So keep your records clean, and that is very important. That is why the moratorium is to be used. Keep your records clean. There are banks waiting to lend. Banks are having enough of money. For quite a long time, you cannot give the money. I am taking the deposit at 7%. I cannot give the money to Reserve Bank at 3%. I cannot survive. I will also become a loss-making unit. We will be forced to lend. We will lend. All the banks will lend. Only they have to gain little more confidence, and the industry has to create that confidence. That is it.
Okay, thank you, sir. The final question, we'll couple two questions together. The question is, sir, how can banks help this particular COVID situation? What are the CSB Bank initiative in this space? And also, recently, Indian Bank Association proposed to settle bad bank to tackle the NPA, non-performing asset. What is your take on that?
That is available only for the public sector bank because government is giving 50,000 crores of the capital, and they have very large accounts, right, which they cannot manage now. Many of the larger businesses will go bad debts. If they're having that bad debts in the books, then their capital adequacy will not be there. Then they cannot lend. To enable them to lend, most of the concessions which have come for the banking industry has come specifically for the public sector bank. It is not available to the private sector bank. But we don't have that kind of a NPA problem. Okay, our NPAs are controlled, and most of the private banks NPAs are very low because we don't lend to infrastructure in a big way, not to big industries. So we are all having lower NPA at this point of time. Even now, believe me, our the defaulted account. See, on 29th February, where there are defaults, 2 installment pending, 1 installment pending, had more than 5,000 accounts on the day, 5,300 accounts to be exact, which were called SMA 0 or SMA 1 or 2, which is 2 installment pending position. Even those accounts have cleared that 2 installments, right? More than 4,000 people have cleared the arrears as on 29th February. Then remaining installments are not fallen due, we are given the moratorium. So they have created a clean track record now. They will be entitled to borrow. To have a clean track record, if at all you have a problem, you sit with your banker. Earlier days, for an NPA account, we cannot lend. If your account has already become NPA, we cannot lend. But today, if your account has slipped into NPA also, if you have a business running and generating cash, and if you can prove that you have enough capacity to service it, it can be refaced again. Concession has been given in that. So bankers are also with helping mode only today. And Catholic Syrian Bank is also committed in the same way, not only MSME business. So we are giving opportunity for the people to do one-time settlement, which is happening on a very large scale. Only thing, selling the property is a challenge for you, for me, for everyone, even if I take the property and the capital. And we are extending this 20% extra loan also we are given. To make it really available to you, we have reduced the margins on the stock and the receivables. And we have deleted this obsolete stock at all. Even the obsolete stocks are taken into consideration. If you have an industry which needs a specific relief, you can come back to us and tell us. For example, dairy industry today, the entire country milk production has become excess. So much of milk is generated. There are no restaurants. There is no milk population which is buying the milk. Everywhere there is excess milk. All the milk producing countries, companies have a lot of this powder stock. They convert it into powder, much beyond their means. We are given extraordinary limits to them to store this powder. Each industry, when they come out with a specific issue and convince a banker, yes, I have an issue, but this is only temporary. I'll be in a position to come out if you can explain your business and convince a banker. Any banker, including the CSB, will be willing to support. You must have the patience. Only you understand your business better than me. You must have a convincing ability. You must think from my point of view what I am thinking. If that is the case, certainly any meaningful conversation, you will get the correct relief. But that is what you need today. You have to be frank with the banker. You have to take time with the banker. We have appointed relationship managers now. All the SME industries have a relationship manager, exclusive person who is going to deal with you. You can discuss with him, tell your problems, tell your requirements. He will customize the solution for you. If the relationship manager is not there in your banks where you are dealing, you can go and sit with the branch manager, explain your problem, and design the loan in such a way that you will not become a defaulter. You will maintain your credit track record and service it in the field. This you have to do. Don't try to do it after becoming a defaulter. That is going to be difficult. Prevention is better than cure. So do that. Go for in anticipation. Take the restructuring or the postponement according to the requirement. And next advice is sell the non-core assets, reduce the liability.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. It's very nice to hear your presentation. So beautiful. Thank you very much. Join with the TMA. When we contacted through our past president, T.S. Anandaraman, you readily accepted our invitation. You proved that the topic is very relevant and it's given a lot of idea how to manage their working capital cycle, how do they deal with the banker and so on. Moving to vote of thanks, before moving to vote of thanks, two announcements. That is the upcoming events. This Saturday, May 30th, we have one more webinar. Seize the new normal into opportunity post-COVID. The time is between 6 to 7 by Dr. P.P. Shashikumar, who is a space scientist as well as the former Deputy Director General Security Cabinet Secretariat, Government of India, New Delhi. And one more, the details will be sent to you shortly. And the 2nd June, we have one more webinar, the COVID World Opportunities and Management Shifts by Mr. Ajay Mehta, who is the Vice President Global, Vice President of Corporate HFD Global, former Nokia. He will take the session, the COVID World, the Opportunities and Management Shifts. Now we to our Honorary Secretary, Sijo, for vote of thanks.
Good evening, sir. Good evening, everybody over here. Thank you, sir. I'd like to especially thank V.R. Rajendran, who went into such a detailed presentation for us, like business community people, for us, how to manage the present situation. And very interestingly, the one single statement which I would like to thank you said, be truthful to your bankers. I think I very well appreciate that. And I hope all the bankers also will appreciate this particular talk and provide necessary assistance to us to grow during this moratorium and this COVID period. I'm sure, as you said, it is an opportunity over here. So we in Kerala would like to exploit this opportunity, and I thank you for your guidance, and I like to thank all the members, past members, president, the technical team for being over here to help us on this webinar. Nothing else to add, Tony. Nothing from my side, but thank you again, sir. It was very worthwhile listening to you. Good day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all for joining with the TMA and spending your precious time. And definitely you learned a lot how to proceed in this difficult time with the bankers and how to go about. Thank you very much. Thank you. With this, we come to the end of this webinar. Thank you, Rajendran sir.